Who strides with long steps will not get far. Who displays himself will not understand. Those two lines are from Tao Te Ching Chapter 24. But what does the ancient Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu actually mean? Let's find out. Who stands on tiptoe does not stand firm. Who strides with long steps will not get far. Who displays himself fails to understand. Who is self-righteous will not shine. Who boasts of himself will not succeed. Who is full of pride will not last long. In the realm of the Tao, these are called leftover food and acts in vain. These the world does not value. Therefore, he who has the Tao does not dwell in it. Hello everyone, and welcome to chapter 24 of the world-famous Tao Te Ching by Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu. This one has again the prominent structure that it's written in two parts. The first part is a description of how the world is, and the second part is an explanation of what that means and what the wise men of this world, the sages, do with that to live a healthy and long and life in accordance with the holy Tao. So, let's start with the first part. So, who stands on tiptoe does not stand firm. Well, that's a fact I guess everybody can agree with. So you have to stand with both feet stable on the ground to be stable. Well, of course. So, but what does it mean symbolically? To stand on tiptoe, well, if you use that in a phrase, you normally mean that you sneak, right? That you try to not make noise, or so that you're insecure, you do not want to be heard, you want to act in secret. So you could interpret this first line as, well, if you try to keep something secret, you do not stand firm, so that won't work in the long run. Right, so if you, that's one way of interpreting it. Another one is that if you make an argument, if you want to change anything, you have to stand on solid ground. So you have to have a stable fundament of explanation why you want that. You have to have good, stable arguments, right? Because if you don't have that, well, you do not stand firm and your project will fail. Okay, so that's the first line. Second line, who strides with long steps will not get far. Okay, this one is also well, pretty obvious, I think. So if you, without training, try to run a marathon, for example, well, you will fail because you're not trained. The steps you take are too big for what you can do. And another way of saying this might be don't take too big bites unless you can chew it, right? Unless you can chew them. So so the teaching is the steps that you take them in a pace that you can actually hold over a long period of time. So choose your projects, choose what you want to do in a scale that you are able to handle, right? Because otherwise you will fail in maintaining whatever it is you're doing. So, next line, who displays himself fails to understand. This one is interesting. Displaying oneself, showing a picture of oneself to the outside world. And there's in it wanting to be seen in a certain way, right? So it's that Instagram phenomenon where you kind of project a picture of yourself to the outside world, which very often has nothing to do with who you actually are. So fails to understand what that means is if you are concentrated on giving a certain picture to the outside world, you won't be looking at yourself truly because you don't care about your actual self, because you're so busy with projecting. So what happens is that you do not understand yourself. You do not understand your real life. Okay, you do not understand who you are. You may understand what you want to project, but that's a phenomenon which very often leads to, VIPs, so to speak, known people, popular people, getting very, very sad and depressed. And not a small number have killed themselves. Interestingly, often at the age of 27, I think. So that means that the projection of the picture of oneself to the outside world is not that innocent and not, it's dangerous actually. It can be dangerous because you lose the feeling for yourself. You lose the understanding of who you really are, what you really need. And you are, of course, a person of flesh and blood and need warmth and love and all of that. But if you're so busy projecting, you got to take it, you have to decide where you put your energy in, right? So, next line. Who is self-righteous will not shine. So, who is self-righteous, who wants to be right, who fights, who argues, who wants to prove to the world that he's right, will not shine. Well, why? Because everybody will get annoyed, right? Nobody likes a know-it-all, right? So that's another word in English, smartass, right? Nobody likes a smartass. Why? Because a smartass does not really see other people and other people's opinions, other people's feelings. The self-righteous human being wants to be right all the time, so he's arguing all the time, always having the best argument. It's not something which is attractive, right? So, they do not shine. They may think they shine. They may have like little moments of feeling big and feeling good because they, think they convince someone. But in the end, they will suffer because nobody likes that. The next line is pretty similar. Who boasts of himself will not succeed. Well, same picture, right? Who boasts, who shows off, he will not succeed in the long run because it's not about what you say you can do, or it's not even about what other people believe you can do, even if you succeed in boasting yourself. It's about what you do, what you actually can do. Can you stride with the long steps or can you not? That is the deciding point, not how big you can talk. Okay. And the next line is also quite similar. Who's full of pride will not last long, right? That's the same. If you spend your energy being prideful, showing yourself, running around with a high nose, with a nose up in the sky, so to speak, you will not last long because you put your energy to the wrong place. You put it into something else, which is boasting, which is pridefulness, and you lose the feeling for the important things you would have to do, right? So that was the first part. Okay, this Lao Tzu gives us a definition. Here he says, that's the truth. Who does that gets that. Okay, so second part. What does the Tao say to this? What is the right way? The Tao is always the right way of doing things, the way of nature, the way the world flows naturally. Okay. So in the realm of the Tao, these are called, so all of these points mentioned in the first part, these are called leftover food and acts in vain. Okay, so isn't that nice? Leftover food and acts in vain. So leftover food does mean something which is on top. Okay, something which is there but not needed. Leftover food. Okay, so yeah, you can make too much food, but nobody will eat it. So it's waste in the end. So leftover food acts in vain. Okay, because yeah, you do that, but it's in vain. It doesn't have an effect. Well, if you do it or not, it doesn't make a difference. So that's how the Tao calls all of these things. These the world does not value. That is what I've spoken about before. The world won't give you tribute for any of these, right? The opposite is true. The world will punish you in one way or the other if you are prideful, if you take too long steps, if you display yourself, if you boast of yourself. All of these, the world does not value these. The world will punish you for that. Then comes the last sentence, which is the conclusion. Therefore, he who has the Tao does not dwell in it. And you could also translate this as, therefore, he who has the Tao does not dwell in them, which means all of those things. So he who has the Tao, the enlightened one, the sage himself, he does not stand on tiptoes. He does not stride with long steps. He does not display himself. He is not self-righteous. He doesn't boast of himself, and who is not full of pride. Okay, so that is what the wise is doing, because the wise does not produce leftover food and does not do acts in vain. The wise concentrate on that which is really important, that which needs to be said, they say, that which needs to be done, they do. But they don't, they don't show off. They don't talk about what they do. They just do. They just are. And by being that, they will be liked. They will be referred to. They will shine. They will be loved even. Because they act in the service of the Tao, which means to act in the service of humanity and of all the world. Okay, that's what the sages do. The sages, because the sage does not care so much about himself. He cares about the Tao itself, which is everything. That's it. Basically, my understanding, my interpretation of Tao Te Ching Chapter 24. I hope you enjoyed this one, and you like this stuff as much as I do. And I hope you join me again in Chapter 25. There are a lot of chapters to come. And if you like, you can subscribe, of course. I would appreciate it, and leave a like. So the algorithm appreciates me as well, and shows my videos to more people. I would like that. So I wish you a nice week, and see you again soon. Bye-bye.